Hello friends, welcome to my channel Bless and Crochet. I am Mari Rolone, and today I am going to show you how to knit with crochet. This nice mat. I have placed here some nice little buttons. See how beautiful it looks. It's super easy. And if you would like to know how to weave it, I invite you to join me from beginning to end. Watch this video. Decorate your table, your dining room, in this case your kitchen, or anywhere else of your home. Having said that, we are starting. I'm going to start by making a ring or a magic ring. Closing and knitting 1, 2, 3 chain stitches. Double loop, and within this space, I knit a double stitch. One, 2, 3 chain stitches. And with double loop, I'm going to do inside the ring circle an undouble stitch. Double loop. Double stitch. Unclose 1, 2, 3 chain stitches, double loop. Within this space we weave double stitch. Without finishing double loop in the same space. Undouble stitch. I close. Trace chain stitches. And repeat the same double stitch, double laced process. Double stitch, double loop the two on. And close 3 chain stitches. And I repeat the same process. 1, 2 double loop. 1, 2. I close 3 chain stitches. This to a total of 12. I want to show you, friends. Look, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now we are going to throw of the start cord and the first one to move. You saw which one was true. This okay, which is the one below. We pull it until I completely close this circle, or as much as possible. There it is. And then, once you have closed the start cord, and that's it. Now we will continue. In this case I'm going to stop by, look. Here I make 2 chain stitches. I'm going to pass here from side to side, where I have the first stitch. And I close with a slip stitch, and now I close it all the way here. This is how this part has turned out here. We have our little flower that will go to the center. And I'm going to start here to do. Where is the chain stitch space? In this case I raise. I'm going to start it with a stitch like this. A single stitch and chain stitch and a double crochet. In this space. DOS chain stitches. I'm going to move on to this space that follows, and we're going to knit 3 double crochet, 1, 2. Y3, 2 chain stitches. And we are going to weave again. In the next space 3 double crochet, 1, 2. Y3, 2 chain stitches. And we repeat. 1, 2. Y3, 2 chain stitches. And this. We will do it until we complete our entire round. Once we finish our round, I will do the following 2 chain stitches, and I will complete this space. I'm going to knit him a double crochet. Step. Slip. In this case, I am going to stop by here, to this next space. Here we are, and we are going to knit it without chain stitch. Unsingle stitch. And a chain stitch. I'm going to move to this space. And double crochet. This is how I am going to start. DOS chain stitches. I'm going to pass this stitch. Well, I'm going to leave just a chain stitch. Looks like a chain stitch. I'm going to pass this first stitch without knitting, and in the next stitch I will knit. Double crochet next stitch. Double crochet next on chain stitches we make 2 1. And 2, and now I have 4 1 chain stitch. I pass a stitch without knitting, and in the one that follows, double crochet. Next, double crochet, then we pass this first stitch. On the chain stitches, let's make 1 for him. And 2. Now we make a stitch chain. I pass a stitch without knitting, and in the one that follows, let's knit him to C1. Next 2. And again we have passed this stitch. I pass over the chain stitches and knit 2 double crochets. A stitch chain. Stitch step without knitting, and next double crochet, in which double crochet follows. On the chain stitches I make 2. A chain stitch, and repeat the same process until I complete my entire round. Here to finish my round, I have a stitch chain, and I will do the following after my chain stitch. Here's a stitch that I'm going to pass without knitting, and where we had remembered the union. Here in the middle on the chain stitch, I knit a double crochet, and I'm going to stop by here, where I have the chain stitch, and I make a slip stitch. Now from here, friends, I'm going to move on to this next stitch. And I start with a single stitch and a chain stitch. I'm going to move on to the next stitch and knit a double crochet. In the following one, which is the space of the chain stitch, I am going to knit 2 double crochets. A chain stitch, I'm going to pass this stitch without knitting, and in the stitch that follows, teju double crochet. Next double crochet, double crochet, and on the chain stitch I will knit 2 stitches. This is how I am going to start. A chain stitch passes a stitch without knitting, and in the next stitch, double crochet 1, 2 3, and on the chain stitch, 2 double crochets and a chain stitch. We already have 5 in total. Stitch step without knitting, and in the following step 1 2. 3, and on the chain stitch I make 2 to complete 5 stitches. In total, to see here, I accommodate well, there it is. A chain stitch and step stitch without knitting, and I repeat the same process until I complete my entire round. And here you can see how it is spinning. Little by little. I will complete. Once my round is over. Here to close I am going to make a chain stitch. I'm going to pass this stitch without knitting and here. We knit a double crochet. And I'm going to make the union here. I have the single stitch on my chain stitch. I make the union with a slip stitch. I move on to the next stitch. And I make a single stitch with a chain stitch. I'm going to move on to the next stitch and double crochet. In the following stitch, double crochet on the chain stitch, we make 2 double crochets. A stitch chain. Stitch step without knitting and next double crochet. Double crochet and double crochet, yes. Now there will be 6 stitches we are going to have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 and we go over here we are going to make 5. And 6, yes, here we are going to make 2 stitches. To complete the 6 I need a stitch chain. Stitch step without knitting and in the stitch that follows I start 1, 2, 3, 4 step. And we do 2 stitches. High on the chain stitches, nice easy. Easy with for you. And we will continue with a chain stitch step and double crochet will be 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. On the stitch chain. DOS double crochet. And this is how I will complete my entire round. I want to show you friends up to this point. How is the progress going, and we are going to do the following. A chain stitch step stitch without knitting and on the stitch chain or on the stitch a double crochet. Single stitch. On the stitch chain. Slip stitch. I'm going to move on to the stitch that follows. Look, here it is. I move on to the next stitch. Single stitch chain stitch. Next double crochet stitch. Next double crochet. And on the stitch chain we make 2. Chain stitch and stitch step and repeat the same process. Here we pass. Here we make 2. And if they realize, because it is the one that starts the same, ends the same and the continuation is the same. Always pass a double crochet at the beginning. For example, a chain stitch. We pass stitch and continue 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 plus 2 is 7. We are going to complete my whole round. If you notice, we had 3 of us and then 4, 5, 6, and 7. The block is increasing more and more. I will complete my entire round. In case anyone has any questions. Here to close. To finalize. I already have my stitch chain. We passed a stitch and we already know the truth. This was a single stitch and a chain stitch. That's where we're going to do double crochet. And then we move on to this one that figures. Single stitch and chain stitch are double crochet. Slip. Happened to me. Single stitch chain stitch and I repeat the same process again. Then to close, we will always be doing the same process. so that we don't see so much of where we start goes. Then, I will go as far ahead as anyone in need. Or this tablecloth or your folder, as you want to leave it. And in a little while I'll be back. Yes, up to this moment friends, you are being useful with this video and you are liking it. Let me know by leaving me a like. Also leave me your comment. Who among you is still here? Put a little hand up and say I'm still here. I want to show you friends up to this point how it is becoming our nice little tablecloth. What do you think? Nice, easy. This is how it's getting up to here. If you got to this point in the video, leave me your comment if I am still here. I'm still here and leave me a like. Then we will continue. Because the next process is to change. And for this purpose, we are going to remove how many are the total rounds it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, and 13, but first I'm going to weigh it up. I want to know how much it weighs so far. Then let's remove this material. To know the exact weight of the color in red. And then we will know the color in green. But first let's go for the red one. Well, there, at home you can see that it has only 50 g. Is what weighs. Up to this point then, with 50 g you can obtain color in red already. Then let's go to weigh all complete to know how much is the color in green. Right, okay, this is as far as we're done. Here in this part, we are going to start here about halfway through. Anyway, we're not all going to stay in the same place, okay? Then let's start here. And I'm going to start by knitting 3 chain stitches. And in the same space. Look, I'm going to tell you how many stitches there are, in case you want to do the same, okay? This is the stitch chain. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 feet 6 inches, and stitch number 7 is where I'm going to do it here. Passage and you in the same space. Another double crochet and another double crochet. To have 3 in total. 7 chain stitches, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chain stitches, and I'm going to pass 8 double crochet, 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one with the chain stitch would be number 8, and I move on to the stitch and knit 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3, and I repeat again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chain stitches, y passo 8 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and on the next stitch I knit 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3, and I repeat again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chain stitches. And step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and on the following stitch I knit 3 double crochets. And I will do this until I complete my whole round. And this is how it will look like. Once my round is over, look at my friends and friends. Here I already have the 7 chain stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's move on to the 3rd chain stitch. Unslip stitch. I didn't need friends here. I didn't have any stitch left over either. Everything was nice and square, okay? Come on, good. Frame it in the stitches, but it's circular, okay? We will continue with 3 chain stitches in height. And in the first space I will knit a double crochet to give it an increase. Here I am going to move on to this stitch that follows. and knit a double crochet. I already have 3. And finally here, in this space we are going to knit a stitch. And in the same space the second. To give you the raise, and we already have. In this case 5 stitches 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's knit 6 chain stitches 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to move here to this double crochet. And I'm going to knit a raise. Therefore we are going to knit 2 stitches. In the same space. Followed by a double crochet. And in this one we make 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6 chain stitches and step and repeat process. At the first stitch you 2. Double crochet to make the increase in the one that follows 1. And in which 2. To make the increase again. And we make 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6 chain stitches. And I repeat the same process. Until I complete my entire round. I have already finished my round and we are going to knit 6 chain stitches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. I will close in the third chain stitch with a slip stitch. And we will upload 3 chain stitches. There in the same space we are going to knit a double crochet. To form 2. In the first space, I'm going to move on to the next stitch which is this one, and we will knit only 1. In which 2. And in which it follows 3. And here I already have 2 from the beginning. 1 for each space and here at the end. Let's weave the increase that has to be 2. 1 and 2. To give us the 7 stitches we need in total. The first one I know to weave with chain stitches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. We already have 7 stitches and we are going to go overboard. This time with 5 chain stitches. 2, 3, 4 and 5 and I'm going to stop by here. To this first stitch and let's knit 2 double crochets. In the same space. Friends at home. Already beginning to weave the Christmas preparations. Here we are going to knit 2 in the first one. In which one follows. In the third one we are going to knit 1. And in the end we knit 2 to make the increase. Time is coming on our friends and girlfriends. So from now on I invite you to start weaving. And our individual mats. Tablecloths and everything you need to leave your home. But beautiful for this Christmas season. This is how we are weaving, friends. I invite you to knit it. And let's repeat, let's make him 5 chain stitches 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We passed. In the first stitch I knit 2 to make an increase. On the next stitch I knit only a double crochet. In which follows I knit a double crochet. Followed by a double crochet. And in the end we weave 2. To complete 7 stitches I need, let's see. We count 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6 and 7 and repeat with 5 chain stitches 1, 2. 3, 4, 5. This has to be done until I complete my entire round. And look what you think. I don't know whether to place this one here. It's about a little bit big for me. Then I have the little stars ready here. Leave me your comment, what would you leave you with? A circle or a star? I don't know, write me what you would have liked. that at the end there would be circles or the stars. And I will show you both ways. Which one would you like? I'm going to lead this round and come back. I want to show you friends. Until now, how is it becoming? And let's go for our next round. Let's bring it a little closer so that you can observe it at home. We end with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chain stitches. And we make the stitch here a slip stitch. 1, 2, 3 chain stitches, and in this same space, I knit the double crochet first. I move on to the next one. Only a double crochet. Let's continue with a double crochet. Let's knit it 2, in which it follows 3, next 4, and finally 5 stitches. 1 for each space, and at the end we make the increase. That would be 2 stitches in the same space. Then we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 1, 2, 3, 4 chain stitches. And I'm going to move on here to this first stitch. And let's knit 2 first. So 2, in which one follows. In which one follows. And so I'm going to weave 1 for each space. You know that there are 5 in total. That one is made for each space. Yes, as here. 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and at the end we make 2. 1. Y2, 1, 2, 3, 4 chain stitches. And I repeat the same process again. And this must be done until complete. My whole round and up to this moment. Friends, if you have already reached this part of the video, write me. At this moment I am still here. I would like to know how many of our friends stayed up to this part of the video. So at the end of the transmission, at the end of the tutorial, I am going to post the comments of our friends that are still here. So write me and stay until the end of the video. Up to this point, this is how my friends are looking like. And we will then continue with the process. I have already finished my round here. I already have 1, 2, 3, and 4 chain stitches to see. This one came over here from some earrings I just made. Well, Mexican. For this national holiday season now. Here, I do the slip stitch and we will repeat the process. I upload 3 chain stitches in the same space. Here we are going to knit him a double crochet in this first space to make the increase. I'll move on to the next one and let's weave 1, in which it follows 2. I'm going to bring it a little closer. 3, 4, we will be weaving 1 for each space. 5, 6, 7. And here at the last stitch, we make the increase, which is 2, 1, and 2. And now instead of knitting him 1, 2, 3, 4, let's knit 3 chain stitches. And here we do 2 to start. Then we will go weaving 1 for each space. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And here we make 2. Trace chain stitches. And I repeat again. Until I complete my entire round. Once finished, it is already our round 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this round we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 left. 10 and 11 I will close here. In the third chain stitch with a slip stitch. And we are going to go for our last tour. Here we are going to put a stitch on it as we have been doing it, to be our increase stitch. And I'm going to move on to the next stitch. And let's knit a double crochet. I'm going to move on to the next stitch. We knit double crochet. And double crochet. Yes, now we are going to knit. Let's see how many double crochets there are. Look. This is the increase. This one we are not going to count these. We carry 1, 2, 3, 1 for each space. 4. 5 will be pure double crochet. 6, 7. 8. Y 9, 9 double crochet. And I'm going to move on here to the last stitch. And we are going to knit him on this occasion. DOS double crochet. This is how it will stay. I'm going to make him a separation chain stitch. And I'm going to move on to the next tree and we're going to weave it. Well, the next double crochet, right? Let's knit 2 at the beginning. Let's see if it would look good on us. Or we need to leave you 2. What do you think, friends? We leave 1 or 2 at home? Leave me your comment. I'm going to get this far. Here at the last stitch, look at my friends. Let's add the same double crochet. A stitch chain, and I'm going to move on to the next tree and we're going to weave it. In this case, the first 2. And this is how it will stay. What do you think? Well, I am going to complete my whole round. This is going to be the last round in green color. I finish my round and return. Here to finish I have first a chain stitch. And I make a slip stitch. I move on to the next stitch. Move the strand to the back. I knit a stitch chain. And con a prieto there in that part. And ready. This is how it will stay. And already on the upside down side. We may lose this little piece of wool. Now let's take our next material. And we are going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and in stitch number 6. Step. A stitch chain. Unsingle stitch. Next. Single stitch. Y single stitch. Without making chain stitch I will turn. I'm going to take this strand. I will leave it there for the time being. And I'm going to move on to this first stitch I have. Here I am going to leave the hybrid, because I will lose it. Single stitch. Single stitch and I move on to the last stitch. And single stitch and this strand. We can already cut it. Without making chain stitch I will turn. And I'm going to knit in this first space. Unsingle stitch. This is round number 3. In which single stitch follows. And finally. Single stitch. Turn. Let's go for round number 4. That we will repeat the same process. NL primer stitch. Single stitch in the second. single stitch, and finally here in the third single stitch. And let's go for round number 5, which is woven in the same way. Single stitch, I'm going to take the stitch well. Así, single stitch. Single stitch. And finally single stitch. A stitch chain. Loose a little bit. And on the upside down side, I pass by and lose this little piece of wool. Here we go. Must be pulled hard, so that in this part of the match we will have a little more round. One could say that the termination is not noticeable. And on the inside side, we already lose this little piece of wool. And in this case we are going to do in each triangle. We will do the same process. There it is, and withdrawal. This is how it will look like. Now I'm going to take a wool that is smaller. And in this case it is a wool of 1 to 2 millimeters. I'm using a girl named Guaguita. In case you do not have it, you can use the Ulali Angarita of the cat, also the one that is thinner. Remember, any type of material they have close to home is the most important thing to meet your nurse's needs. 3.5 millimeters crochet. And let's start here, in one of the last stitches of this pine tree. I will pass. And I'm going to knit my first chain stitch with double wool. Then I will withdraw, and in this space, here in this space, I'm going to leave it like this. And I'm going to pass this stitch without knitting. And in the stitch that follows I will be weaving. So, to see here first, we pass and weave. Stitch step without knitting and followed by half double crochet. In a single time. I'm going to knit half double crochet right there. We will have 2 in the same space. 3 right there, 4. 5 and finally 6 half stitches. I'm going to pass this stitch without knitting, and in the stitch that follows, I make the union with a slip stitch. I'm going to pass this stitch without knitting, and in the stitch that follows, what is this? I'm going to take it this way to cover it up, the part of the trunk. And here I am going to start knitting half double crochet 1, 2, 3, 4. We will continue, we have 4 in the same space. I'm going to knit 5 and 6 half stitches. I will pass this stitch that is still not knitting. And at the next stitch I knit a slip stitch. I pass this stitch that is still not. And in the stitch that follows, I'm going to bring it a little closer there, so that we can see it. Here I am going to do half double crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 half stitches. Stitch step without knitting. And in the stitch that follows I knit a stitch. And here we are going to form these arches as if it were the arrow, and then if up here we can hit it. This is these little buttons that will appear on our spheres. What do you think? Nice, nice, easy. Easy, so it's just that there, my friend. I invite you to knit it, it will be super superculous. What do you think? You are liking. I hope you are enjoying it so much at home. But as much as I do, And I would like to thank you especially my friend, that you are a member of this channel, and that you are part of this great community. 1000 thanks. I hope your goodwill multiplies 1000%. So thank you. Thank you for your support. And I will repeat this here. I want to show you friends as you can. The pines already with this, and the last thing we are going to do, as I had told them to do, is to place these little buttons that I am going to glue. In this case with silicone cold. They're at home. If someone in this case has, for example, the time of sewing them can be sewn. There is another type of handicrafts, but hot silicone. It will not usually come off, is a question I have just been asked. It is very, very difficult for it to come off. Unless you store to pull it, okay, then. That is a recommendation. There at home you decide. And here to finish, we are going to withdraw. Here I have already made the slip stitch. In this first stitch, I will pass to the bottom. And here we pass. Then, what I'm going to do is lose these little pieces of wool. I'm going to glue the esferitas. And return. Christmas is here. Let her in. Christmas is here. Let her in, and don't miss friends. That Erasmus friend is now available. Remember, below in the description box I will leave the link for you to visit me. I want to show you friends now how the final result has turned out of this beautiful rug. What do you think of the way it looks? It was nice for them. It was easy for you. Difficult, I don't know, friend, leave me your comment. I would like to receive it because I say goodbye with this. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, support me by sharing on social networks, with your relatives, with your friends, in your Facebook groups. And see you in the next video.